Dick guides Hanlon as he touches the slingshot and witnesses the events Shaw experienced as a child. At least that's what's implied. This is called psychometry, the ability to sense information about a person, place, or event by touching an object. Characters like Johnny in The Dead Zone also possess this ability. Dick soon finds himself in a trance and transported to Pennywise's lair. There he sees Pennywise's glowing eyes, who asks him, "Who are you?" This is really interesting, as we've never really seen Pennywise as the one asking the questions. Dick will later question whether they should just give up this search because this thing wasn't supposed to see him and now it knows they're coming. He gets the feeling if they continue to search, something very bad will happen. Dick experiences quick flashes of a Mardi Gras mask, a dead soldier, trenches, and a woman. These might all be connected to fears from his past. If he fought in Korea or World War II, that might explain the dead soldier. The woman in the nightgown might be his grandmother, one who we'll see floating in Pennywise's lair. In The Shining, we know that Dick had a special connection with his grandmother, who also possessed the ability to shine. He states that sometimes they'd even have full conversations with each other just in their heads. As for the carnival mask, we don't really know if Dick spent any time near a city like New Orleans where Mardi Gras type of masks are worn, although Mike Flanagan did have Dick living in New Orleans in a now scrapped prequel idea. Dick almost flings himself from the back of the plane, but is broken out of his trance and stopped. Shaw reiterates how important this mission is and tells Halloran he did great work, granting him more special privileges. Dick wants a place where he and the boys don't have to worry about the rain crashing down on them, so I think Shaw will hook them up with a place that will eventually become the Black Spot, an African-American speakeasy where the airmen can unwind that eventually gets burned down by it. Dick is invited over to the Hallorans for dinner. He can read minds, which is how he senses Charlotte isn't quite at ease in this town. Back in Shreveport, she was heavily involved in the civil rights movement, but here in Derry, she has to hold herself back as it might affect her husband's ability to work his way up in the military, so there's gotta be a little resentment there. Dick also knows about Leroy's son, even though Leroy never mentioned him. And due to Leroy's broken brain, he can somehow sense when Dick is digging in there. He felt that same sensation the night he was attacked by the gas mask men. This is how he deduced Dick was one of those men. Dick had to be there in order to confirm Leroy really felt no fear. Dick also tells Leroy about his ability, however he doesn't really know how to describe it, basically stating that it's like seeing things without seeing things. Leroy saved his life and Dick agrees never to go digging in his head again, going on to state he wouldn't mind having a man without fear beside him in the trenches. This likely foreshadows the two of them going to war together, not against a country, but against the entity itself.